gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, trying. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Tuesday, August 5th. Thank you guys so much for joining us as we work our way through the first week of August. Football season right around the corner. Plenty to get to on today's show as well. You saw Kirk Ferentz in the open of the show. That was last year at Media Day. This year at Media Day, we'll be back. We'll be back this Friday. Excited to do the show. Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, live from Iowa Football Media Day, coming up this Friday. More on that in just a minute as well. But first and foremost, as I mentioned, thank you guys for watching. If you're watching live on YouTube, thank you. We appreciate that. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Tell a friend or two or 10 about what we're doing each and every day right here in the Quad Cities. We're also live on X. X has been very, very good to us each and every day. So we appreciate everybody who checks out the show on X as well. And then also, you can check out the show on all the podcasting platforms as well. Spotify, Apple, Podbean, iHeart, you name it. Off the Air with Matt Randazzo should be there for you to listen to, which is better than look at sometimes, especially today's show. Good example as well. But go check that out as well. Apologies about yesterday's podcast. It's up there. It should be correct. When I first posted it, I posted Fridays instead of the audio from Mondays. So it should be good to go. Thank you for all of you that brought that to my attention last night and this morning as well. That means you guys are listening, which I appreciate that as well. So really excited about today's show. Coming up in a matter of moments, I'm going to be joined by Chris Duerr. Chris Duerr is a longtime sportscaster down in Quincy, 30 years in that market, doing it at an extremely high level. One of those people that are in the business for all the right reasons. Dan Burge told me way back in the day, there's two types of people that do TV, and especially sports on TV. And it's people that love sports and want to cover events and cover games, and there's people who want to be on TV. Chris is the first one. He's the one who loves getting out to those games, putting your kids on television, celebrating their accomplishments. Very Dan Pearson-like in that sense as well. A good comparison there as well. 30 years doing it at an extremely high level in Quincy. Recently stepped down from his longtime sports director's gig. Sounds interesting. Sounds familiar. And he's starting something completely different, doing something completely different, teaming with another legend down in that area, Matt Schuckman, to do sports in a non-traditional sense, which is exciting, something that I've kind of started doing as well. So we'll talk with Chris Duerr in a second about his new ventures, his memories, and also the Quincy market. If you're a Western Big Six fan up here, Quincy's that market down south that, how do they look at us? How do they look at the rivalries between Rock Island, Moline, Alleman, Geneseo, UT, all that kind of stuff. So a great conversation coming up with Chris Duerr, that coming up in just a matter of moments. Excited to be starting our OTA high school football previews. The effort is to chat with a coach from Illinois and Iowa every show leading up to opening night of the high school football season, which is August 29th. Now, that won't happen Friday because we'll be on location, and there may be a few days here and there where we're on location doing different things, but that's the hope. So yesterday we started with an Iowa preview and North Scott. Awesome to talk to Tony Stewart. If you missed that, go check it out. Also on the Illinois side, we were joined by Nick Welch. Great conversation with him. United Township looks really good this year as well. So go check those out. Today we will chat with Pleasant Valley head coach Rusty VanWetzinga. Check out the Spartans, how they'll look this year. Went, I think, 7-2 last year. Lost in the first round of the playoffs to a Southeast Polk team that is really, really good in a really close game. It's been a great run at Pleasant Valley, but this is the first time that Rusty VanWetzinga looks out on the field and doesn't see one of his kids, doesn't see Rusty or Joey. So a great conversation coming up with Rusty VanWetzinga in just a little bit. Also, on the Illinois side, we'll take a look at and preview Sterling football with one of the good guys in the conference, Jon Schlemmer. So that coming up around hour number 2 as well. As I mentioned yesterday, it was Nick Welch, it was Tony Stewart. We also talked with Steamwheeler head coach Corey Ross as the Wheelers get ready for the Eastern Conference Championship game coming up on Saturday at Vibrant Arena. So go check out Corey Ross's interview yesterday. Tomorrow will be Steamwheeler Wednesday, efforting to get former Rock Island and Augustana standout Jordan Vesey. I believe he'll be on the show tomorrow as well. So a lot of exciting times with Quad City Steamwheeler football. And then we also talked a lot of wrestling with Don Umland yesterday as well. So go check out yesterday's show and get situated, get comfortable. Really excited about today's show as well. Also, I did mention, coming up this Friday, we're taking the show on the road. Off the air will not come your way at 10 a.m. It'll come your way probably 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon. We'll know a little bit more probably today on maybe an exact start time. But we're taking the show on the road. We'll do the show from Iowa Football Media Day. Pat Anger will join me. Hoping to get Gary Dolphin to join me for a little bit as well. Maybe Rod Brooks. But players are available as well and coaches as well. So who knows who's going to stop by. Plus, all my media friends are up there as well. So it should be a jam-packed show as we look to preview the Iowa football season for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Should be a ton of fun. That's coming right around the corner as well. So 3 weeks from Saturday, the start of the college football season for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa State's a week earlier. We'll get with Jake Brend later this week, I think, and catch up with the Cyclones as well. And then also want to mention coming up on August 17th, the View from the West kickoff party. It's down at the other bar in Moline. I had this fancy graphic already, and I can't find it, but I'll have it for tomorrow's show. I guarantee you that. But it's August 17th, Sunday night, 5 o'clock. Most of these coaches that you're going to hear on the Illinois side of the river these next couple days are going to be down there as well. Talking high school football, having some drinks, get some food, all that kind of stuff, and just have a party to kick off the high school football season on the Illinois side of the river for View from the West. So I'm excited about that. We'll continue to promote and talk about that throughout the weeks as well as that comes your way very, very soon. But we got a lot to get to on today's show, and we start by catching up with a good friend of mine who's now a former sports director. Really cool to catch up with this young man. So joining me now, a familiar face when you look at sports in the state of Illinois, especially high school sports. My good friend Chris Duerr from the Quincy market. How's this sound, Chris? Former sports director at KHQA. First and foremost, congratulations. Last week sometime, I think, or recently, you announced that you were stepping away from TV. Crazy concept, something I can relate to, and kind of doing a little something different and new. What's this last couple weeks been like for you?
A little bit stressful, very exciting, Matt. And I have leaned on you and your example and the example of Brett Behrens, our good friend over in Champaign, that, you know, for years and years, you guys were kind of now the pioneers of doing something different. And you've made it look easy and you've made it look elegant. And that made it a lot braver to kind of make the choice after 3 decades of doing the same exact job to consider a different world. And that's not an easy thing for any of us. Change is really, really hard. And I'm still dealing with some of the nerves and some of the frenetic, hey, this is a different world. But in a lot of ways, Matt, as you well know, it's the same world. It's the stuff that we love to do, that we've been doing for decades, you and I now. And it's a chance to do it in a different way. And it's a chance to adapt, because I think we've seen, you and I especially, that the world is a very different place media-wise than it used to be when we got into the business. Everything has changed, including the way ownership views us, the way they view viewers, the way they view the medium itself. So, you know, if you're not adapting in this world, and I've long believed this, you're kind of dying. So it was time, and I heard the call. And again, I had some great examples from guys like yourself that that have made this work and made this an opportunity to go and do something that I continue to love to do, but just do it in a different way.
Yeah, no, and thank you for the kind of words. I don't know if I've made it look easy by any stretch of imagination, but it's different. Like you mentioned, it's always difficult to change, but sometimes change is for the best. But you look back 30 years in that market down in Quincy. So I mentioned KHQA, a Quincy television station, 30 years. What was it? That's rare. I've 25 I did in the Quad Cities, and you know what this business is like, and it becomes shorter and shorter. 30 years is special. What was it about that place and the Quincy area and the state of Illinois, and in a sense as well, that kept you around for so long?
So I think I fell in love with the culture, and I did that pretty instantly. As people probably know about Quincy, it's the only place in the country I've ever been where your social status in town is revealed by where you sit at a high school basketball game. I mean, to start with that base level with Quincy High basketball and Blue Devil Gym, and to be able to experience all that, and folks who visited know it's a very different place. I know it's a hostile place sometimes to people from the Quad Cities who come down and take part in that. But, that's our gathering place as a community. That's the old agora, as the Greeks used to say, where everybody comes, like a marketplace. So, if you start experiencing sports at that level, as you well know, on Friday nights, everything stops for high school football or high school basketball. And to be a part of that kind of communal experience. And the great thing for us is we cover 3 different states. We cover Missouri, we cover Iowa, we cover Illinois. Every town that we have, every school has its own unique culture. They have their own unique thing and their own unique claim to fame that they're so excited about. And to be able to kind of be a steward to that for 30 years, it gets addictive. And to be honest with you, Matt, I had chances to leave along the way. I went other places. I'd interview. It was bigger markets. And I realized very quickly that, like, when you go to a 70 market jump and you do your resume cast for those people, it's not like the teleprompter is suddenly in Cyrillic. It's not like what we do gets harder. You're just doing the same thing, and it kind of all became an artificial construct. And I'm like, every time I did the weighing of should I go or should I stay, it was always so heavily in favor of should I stay. Plus, this is a great community. My kids love it here, and it was a chance to do what I love to do in a place that I have come to adore doing it. So that was really what was special and what kept me here for 3 decades.
Well, that's the beauty part of it, Chris, is because you look at people. I think that's something that Dan Pearson kind of taught me and several others here in the Quad Cities, is it's about the athlete. And that's what I've loved watching about you, is that it's about telling these stories. It's not about Chris Duerr. It's not about Matt Randazzo. It's about the athletes. Kind of talk about that, because I think you've embraced that from the jump, is that you're here to tell those stories from kids and schools all around your viewing area.
Well, it helps being cognizant of the fact that I'm not that interesting. I might be the most boring guy on the planet, away from this gig. But to be able to tell stories was really what I got into this business for. And I was lucky. I was very fortunate. I felt like when I was a high school athlete, somebody saw me, and I was an offensive lineman in a way that, I hadn't been seen before. And just a kind blurb in a local newspaper at that point sort of became the pay it forward moment for me. If somebody could give me that kind of confidence and validation that I'd never met before, in a way, maybe this was my chance to pay that forward with kids and to remind them that, that you are seen and that your potential does matter and that you're limited by nothing in this world. And if a few kind compliments and some of the things that people have said to me after leaving about, a throwaway line or a text message I sent somebody that helped better their lives, it's pretty humbling on the backdraft of that to kind of realize that you had an impact. And that's what life should be all about, whether you're on television or whether you're, a mail carrier or a teacher or whatever it is. If you're having a positive impact on people's lives, I think that's a pretty valuable life to have led.
You've had a very positive impact. Chris Duerr joining me right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I've always talked to people about my transition out and doing different things that I don't want to trample on or bash what I'm leaving. But things have changed and things are different. Kind of talk to that side of it about it, because I know you've mentioned it on other interviews you've done and your own social media posts. things are changing. Evolution, everything's got to evolve, and unfortunately, local TV's kind of changed along with things, and we have to change with them. What are some of the frustrations or things that you've kind of seen recently that maybe led to this decision as well?
Well, you know better than anybody, Matt. You're kind of indentured servant in television once you sign a contract, and you're kind of prisoner to the whims of whatever your ownership groups want to do. And if you probably had known what the future was, you might not have signed that contract at the outset when your companies make a philosophical pivot. And I've been through two of those, signed two good faith contracts and had everything about my contract and everything about my circumstances change over the course of the last 6 years with the ownership group that we had. The most recent evidence of that was we had started, I guess, when I had joined, when Sinclair had bought KHQA. The idea was to make it the largest television family of stations in the country. And we were a part of that. And in the back end, the smaller market stations aren't as important after you kind of achieve that number. And they're not treated as such, which, as somebody who's given my life to small market television and who loves the concept of being able to go out and reach smaller communities that don't get reached, that are kind of coverage deserts otherwise, when you start sort of playing with the numbers with that. And what we did here, we took two different markets, two different television stations, and smashed them together in a very inelegant way, in my opinion. And that has meant that the amount of sports coverage and the amount of local coverage that the KHQA market and the KTVO market, which is Kirksville and Ottumwa, get, instead of being 100% when we were separate stations, is now like 40% each. And that's just not satisfying. And it's not what I signed on for. That's no slight on the Kirksville market or the Ottumwa market or the really good guys that came in from those stations that we were working with. It was just not my mission. And it's hard for me because I think a lot of the success I've had is because my coverage feels genuine, because I'm there and I'm seeing kids. When you're sending me video from Kirksville or Ottumwa from kids I don't know, kids whose names I can't pronounce or may not be able to pronounce on my own from knowing them for years, it feels very fake to me. And I didn't want to be a part of that anymore. And I knew pretty quickly it was kind of time to move on from that and to get back to what it is I loved, which was this market. And, with my new job, there's going to be a chance to be exclusive to that market. And that's really all I was looking for, Matt. And, that was my biggest frustration. That's nothing, against the wonderful people I worked with there for 30 years. Man, it was really hard to say goodbye to some of those people, all of those people, honestly, because we'd all been through the wars together. Mm-hmm. But in the end, as guilty as I kind of felt abandoning things, it also felt like I had to do this for my own sanity's sake.
No, it's like it's like listening to a last year of my life. No, I can understand. And that's the thing that people don't understand is, I think people do understand it, but it's not call letters. You know what I mean? People don't watch sports and think, oh, that station did that. It was Chris Duerr did that. So if you set a standard to a certain spot and you like to work really hard and get to those things, and then I found myself sometimes, and I'm not bashing anything, but almost arguing to work more. You know what I mean? Like, no, I want to do this more. I need to get to these games. I need to do these things because that's what people expect. And when you're at home at night watching on a Friday night, let's say, and you're not in a community covering a school, they don't sit there and say, those 4 call letters weren't at my game. They say, well, why wasn't Randazzo or Duerr at my game, or, anybody? So you become almost the face of what it is. You don't want to be. Like, nobody wants this face to be associated with anything. Trust us. People should listen into this show on the podcast form. Yeah, Chris, there's a podcast form of this, and people should listen to it on the podcasting form, not on the YouTube or the X form. But I think that's what it was for me, is when you're used to doing things at a certain level, you don't want to give in, and sometimes you have to give in. So that's the beauty of kind of this stuff. So explain, I know Muddy River, I love Shuck and what he's done. I've watched it from afar. I know you have a great amount of respect for him. What's the next chapter look like for Chris Duerr down in the Quincy area?
A friend who happens to be a legend in this market, and there's nobody who writes quite like Matt Shuckman. And I know people have seen it, and it is the stupidest concept in the history of the world on premise. Matt Shuckman, Shuck on a truck, All he is a man sitting on the back of a truck bed talking to people, but my God, is it brilliant in its elegance and its execution. And that's a credit to Matt. I mean, he's as good an interviewer as there is, and even more so as a writer. I mean, he is one of those rare talents anywhere in this country who could work in any market he wants, who can summon whole oceans of emotion from 5-word sentences. And that's what we all aspire to be as communicators. He's the standard for that. So as I explained to somebody, and I'm a longtime Prince head, getting a chance to do this is like getting to jam at Paisley Park. You know, it's like being able to come in and you've got to raise your game to meet his energy and his talent. And for me, that's super fun, and I'm super excited to have a chance to do that. My job is going to be to add video content to what he has done with his writing and with his interviews, podcasts, and we're going to do some ringer type stuff as well, Matt. I get a chance to kind of get outside of the sports realm and talk about pop culture and food and things to me as well, probably to a lesser degree, obviously, but I think it's a chance to stretch a little bit. And after 30 years of not stretching, that's fun.
Yeah, I always tell my kids, I've told people this when I got out, is I always tell my kids to get out of their comfort zone. The best things in life I've gotten to do was out of my comfort zone. I was scared out of my mind when I anchored for the first time in my home market, knowing that family and friends were watching and I was going to look like an idiot. And I'm sure I did look like an idiot, but I love doing it and I continue to do it. And it was the best thing that ever happened. And I always tell my boys, like, the best things you're going to do in life is when you're out of your comfort zone and there's nerves and there's those kind of things. And I felt like myself, I got into such a comfort zone. And that's what's been fun. And we kind of talked before we came on the air that you can just throw stuff at a wall. And that's the beauty part, is you come up with an idea, you try it. If it works, it's great. If it doesn't work, you just throw it to the side and try something different. When you announce that 30 years you're leaving that television station, the outpouring of support is awesome. I read it. I read a lot of it. What did that mean to you to get? I know you're not a pat yourself on the back kind of guy, and you're very modest. But what did it mean to read some of those things and hear some of the things about the work that you've done over the last 3 decades?
I think it's a reminder how lucky I am to have landed where I did. I've said this for years. I feel like I'm lucky enough to have landed in a place, and I'm a West Coast guy. And it's very easy for me to envision a version of myself that's one of those West Coast idiots who talk about flyover states, you know, and living in a flyover state is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me and to my family and to my kids. It's one of those things where when your neighbors lift you up and you have neighbors that, and I'm not saying it's perfect or utopia by any stretch, because we have our issues and we have our problems, but when you live among people who are genuinely kind and appreciative of the work you do. And I get far too much credit for anything we've done. I mean, I read a teleprompter for a living. I'm not solving cancer out there, but people are so generous because you're talking about their kids, and now generations of kids in my case. And I'm probably pretty close to my first third generation kid here any minute now, running down the pike that I'll be doing somebody's grandchild that I covered at one point. So just to be in that position and to be here, yeah, it's easy to get a big head, I guess, if you read that stuff. I just found in contrast, I got a big heart. It filled my heart full of love and full of joy, and made me realize that the good Lord put me in the right place, Matt, and that there's a reason everything worked out. There's no earthly reason a kid from Rancho Cordova, California should end up in Quincy, Illinois, but that's this business, and I never left, and I think there's a purpose to that.
No, absolutely. I got to talk to you about Quincy before I let you go too, as well, because up here in the Quad Cities, everybody's wondering, and it was funny you mentioned that gym, and it's cool because I've been down there. I've covered games there, not enough of them, and the beauty part is I don't have to go down there and cover them because you did such a great job in our partnership of sharing video and stuff. But I've been down there and it was awesome. And my son was a freshman this past season for the Altman basketball team, and went down for the varsity games and traveled down for the sophomore team and stuff. And saw that gym for the first time, and right away he texted me. He's like, "Dad, this is amazing." And you kind of touched on it. And I love, and you can not like Quincy, and people in the Quad Cities probably don't like Quincy in certain ways and stuff, but the culture down there is amazing. I want to talk about the football season coming up. I don't think there's been two better football seasons in school history than what you got to cover recently. But everyone wants to know what's next. Do you know what's next when it comes to Quincy football, what it might look like this year?
I'm not sure Rick Little knows what's next, to be honest with you at this point, because you're graduating not only the best quarterback in the history of the program, but one of the most prolific passers in the history of the state, Braden Little. And as good as Braden was, he also had a generational group of wide receivers the last 4 years, and a running back who probably had things worked out differently, could have been playing Division I football if things had kind of broken in the right direction. So I don't think we quite know what Quincy High football is going to be this season. I think there are some really good pieces back. Obviously, you've got a Todd Smith back who's already signed Division I with Lindenwood. You've got a heck of a linebacker back in Shelp, who's I'm trying to remember. I think he pledged yesterday to Butler. So there are some pieces back that are going to be very good. It's a question of how Rick connects the dots. And it is coming again for Quincy in a couple of years down the road. But for right now, I think after the 2 seasons you've had with the graduating class that I think you could call the best in the history of Quincy High football, going to be really interesting to see how they bounce back over in Blue Devil country this year. Which isn't all that dissimilar from what we're going to see at basketball season either, with, all that was lost on the basketball side of things from a team that was, 2 years ago, maybe one bad inbounds play. Oh, still tough to talk about that. One bad inbounds play away from maybe winning a state championship. So it's, there's a lot of change going on in Blue Devil country, but, that's what happens here. And, small towns and, nobody can bring in talent. There's no recruiting, and there's nothing like that happens. You kind of play the hand you're dealt now. And I think, we've been dealt a really good hand after the last couple of years in both football and basketball. I mean, last year, the last 2 years have to be about as good a fall winter as Quincy High School has ever seen. Now it's going to be interesting to see how you rebound and how the idea of culture. And for all those years we've been around, Rick Little played for the legendary Jim Unruh up in Carthage. Which would become Illini West. And Jim Unruh's claim to fame was, didn't matter what the talent cycle was, Illini West / Carthage was always, always good. There was a baseline where kids would pick it up from what was left over because they felt some sort of, need to carry on the tradition. I think we'll see how much that has assimilated under Rick's command here, how much he's pulled from his old mentor, Jim Unruh, and gotten the idea that, hey, tradition never graduates.
Is there another Little coming? Isn't there a little brother? Is he a quarterback too?
I don't know. I don't think he'll be the quarterback this year, but I think it's coming.
Oh, wow.
I think that's 2 or 3 years down the road, 2 years down the road, probably. Next year, we'll be talking about the younger Master Little doing at quarterback. But right now, there's a quarterback battle brewing. So we're going to see how that shakes out as well.
I didn't get to really know Coach Little until a couple of Western Big Six banquets ago. It was funny, he never came up for him until they got really good. We always gave him a hard time with that.
Funny how that happens.
And you know what? I sat next to him during dinner and I emceed the event, and he was such a good guy to get to know with me having kids and his kids and what they're doing and all those kind of things. He really, really, really enjoyed my conversations with him and getting to know him. He's a good dude. Before I let you go, is there down in Quincy, who do they not like the most up here? I don't want to say hate, but is there Dan Moline or Rock Island or?
I think it depends on the sport and the year. I think in recent years it's been Moline pretty strongly based on everything that's happened. And God knows Sean Taylor is one of my very favorite people on the planet. But we're not allowed to like Sean Taylor when he's in town. Just for the course of that basketball game, as much as I love, Sean and Lisa and their family, we're all not allowed to smile and we're not all allowed to wave until after games are over and only if Quincy High won. So that's a de facto rule. I'm kind of making that up as we go along. But, those Moline Quincy High rivalries were so good the last couple of years in basketball and so much fun. I think football-wise, it just depends on the week. I think it's easy to hate everybody during game week. That's just basically how it lines up. And Rick's been really good about, hey, these are our enemies this week. Let's go beat them and move on to next week and take care of business then.
Yeah, you know what? We're glad you guys gave us Sean Taylor because he's been
I'll
so
bet
much
you
fun.
are.
Isn't he a character? Like, just
Oh, he's the best.
he's so dang funny. I don't want to say nice things. He probably might watch. I don't know. Sometimes he does, but he's so funny, just genuinely funny in life that it's easy for him. He's got such a great personality.
Here's the thing about Sean too, and obviously we got to experience him not just at Quincy High School, but at Jacksonville and Macomb as well. So we've known Sean for a long time. My children, who didn't play any sports, either of them, both had Sean Taylor as a teacher and love him to death. And I think that's the greatest measure of Sean Taylor's character, is that the kids who had him educationally revere him and love him as well. And Taylor and Carson Duerr both came away from the Sean Taylor experience playing no basketball whatsoever, which is probably good given my genes. But the fact that I was an offensive lineman, all I could do on a basketball court was set picks. But the fact that they think so highly of Sean, I think, is as telling as anything about what kind of man he is, first and foremost.
Why did you get him fired? Wasn't it you that got him fired?
I did not get anybody fired.
Oh, I love it.
I had nothing to do with anybody's firing. I have no idea sometimes what happens in this town, and sometimes with Quincy's history, everybody has their ideas that Quincy High School should be winning state championships like it's and national championships like it's 1981. I sometimes have to caution people to remember that Bruce Douglas isn't walking back through that door every single year just because this is Quincy or Keith or any of the Douglas brothers or Mr. Payne or anybody at that point. Sometimes we have to lower our expectations a little in basketball, and that's really hard in the city of Quincy.
No, I understand that for sure. Chris Duerr, I appreciate you doing this. I'm going to bug you again throughout the year. We can do some more chats like this because it's been a ton of fun, especially with your Quincy knowledge and the state of Illinois and all those kind of things. Tell people, and there's people up in the Quad Cities because of the social media, the internet, all that kind of stuff, who know Chris Duerr and appreciate everything he's done. How do people continue to get your content? What's the best way? I know social media is a thing and good for you, but tell us how we can continue to follow Chris Duerr.
I'm shocked at the reach of social media. I have so many followers from different places, never realized in, the Quad Cities and Peoria, across the state and Champaign. So I think that's the beauty of this state, is that everybody loves the sports culture so much that they're so into it. And I remember I got literally emails everywhere. We wrote about the tragic passing of Reese Ramsey with Pittsfield basketball this year. And I can't begin to tell you the number of emails we got from everywhere, because the loss of such a talented, young, beautiful kid affected everybody in ways that ripped all of our hearts out. So it's amazing, the connectivity. And that's the beautiful thing about the modern age, is that we can all connect and still be human with one another. For me, I'm going to Muddy River. It's a website, muddyriversports.com. You can log on anytime you like, 24 hours a day. There'll be new content there every single day. New videos from us. And again, we'll still be active on social media and share. So we're out there and easily found. We're the 7-Eleven of sports is what we're trying to be. Always there for you when you need us, as convenient as possible. So that's kind of the goal at this point, Matt.
I love it. Well, I'll be watching. I'll be keeping track. We're going to catch up again real soon because I love your insight on things as well. So excited for that as well. And I'm proud of you. And I don't need to say that. And trust me, the last thing you need is for me to be proud of you. But super excited. I had nothing to do with it. Trust me. If you give me a little credit, I'll take it. But you're going to do huge things. I can't wait to watch it. And we'll catch up again real soon. I appreciate you, Chris.
Well, I appreciate you, whether you acknowledge it or not, being my magnetic north in all of this, because your success with this means a lot to me.
What you said on text, you said, I decided to pull a Randazzo. And I'm like, that's the first time that phrase could be ever put in a positive way. Like, I'm sure people have said, oh, you pulled a Randazzo, but it's probably meant a lot of different things besides something positive. So, Chris, behave yourself. Get to work. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Bless you, my friend.
All right, that is Chris Duerr, former sports director down in Quincy, now doing great things for Muddy River Sports. Can't wait to continue to watch him grow and do huge things in his afterlife after TV, as I'm in my afterlife as well. We got more to get to. Coming up, we're going to continue our high school football previews. We're going to go to the Iowa side first. A great conversation with Rusty VanWetzinga as we look at Pleasant Valley football. That, and then later in the show, we'll go to Sterling and chat with Jon Schlemmer. A lot to get to. It's a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities on Off the Air. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo, now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need Mobile Party Experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your Mobile Party Experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. We mentioned it yesterday, but high school football is right around the corner. It's 3 weeks from this Friday night, so we've started our off-the-air high school football previews, efforting to talk to a coach from Iowa and Illinois each day here on the show. And yesterday we were at North Scott up and visited Tony Stewart up there. Today we go from maybe the new guy when it comes to head coaching to, I don't want to call you the old guy coach, but you're not new at this thing,
I
are
am.
you?
I think I'm the longest. Yeah, it's my 19th year as the head coach. I think Wiley might be a year behind me, and Tippett would have been the same year, I believe.
Yeah.
Either we're the same year or a year behind. I think we were at the same year.
Okay.
Taking over the reins. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had Nick Welch, student taught for me. He's doing a great job. Matt Furlong. A couple guys on the Bettner staff. Mike Morrissey, I can remember when he was a little kid. So, yeah.
So that means it means you're experienced, Coach. It doesn't mean you're old.
Yeah.
It just means you're experienced.
No. Some people, my wife wouldn't say she's an empty nester. She still thinks she's got one kid here in the house, me. So, yeah.
That's probably true. Hey, Coach,
I
before
still
we
like
talk football, I want to thank you and talk to you a little bit. You were impressive as a golfer. We talked with Nick Welch yesterday. He came out and golfed in my dad's golf outing this summer. You two came out as well, and actually teamed up with myself, Joe Conklin, and some goofball named Pat Anger, and had some fun. So I want to let you know you were impressive. Like, you can hit the ball, my friend.
Sometimes, yeah. I've actually played pretty well this summer, but I actually played the other day at the Davenport Country Club, and I was absolutely atrocious. Very disappointed. I finished last. My uncle beat me. My Uncle Rick. Caden McDermott played with us, our quarterback from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And my dad played along with us. So I was terrible. I was, terrible. I said, thank God football's starting so I can put these damn things away. So might try to get out maybe one or two more times. So, but I enjoy it. And trying to commit to it a little bit more.
Sure.
So it's fun. I like to fish too. I mean, I'm better at fishing than I am golfing. Much better. So
you know what? We had a great time that day.
It was a lot of fun.
Pat likes to cheat, if you didn't notice, but we were the moral authority of the team, and I think helped us a little bit. But anyways, it was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I was impressed. So it was a good time.
Yeah, it was great. Joe Conklin, I'd like to do it again. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Next year's coming. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yep.
I also wanted, before we start talking about Pleasant Valley football, I got to talk to you because you're the last VanWetzinga to be on here. Because Rusty's been on here a couple times. Joey's been on here a couple times. I got to ask you, how are your boys? I think the visor is a Chippewa visor, maybe.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Chippewa. I got my Pleasant Valley shirt on here. I got my Chippewa. I got some Iowa stuff still hanging too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But how are the boys doing?
Good. They're doing good. I mean, they're knee deep in football, obviously, and they're entrenched in that, and but they're doing well. Rusty's at fullback, H-back up there at Central for the Chippewas, and Joey made the transition from O-line to D-line, which was kind of his first love, and they're doing well. I mean, they're working hard. I mean, I think they got a pretty intense camp schedule, a lot of hours, one day off, that sort of stuff, film and regimented, nothing new. I mean, Rusty did say it's busy. So I haven't heard much from them, but that's okay. I mean, they're big boys now. They got to kind of make their own path. And so I'm excited for them. Make sure they stay healthy. Everybody stays healthy in this game. But kind of excited to see what the season holds. And it's a lot of newness up there, obviously, with the new staff with Matt and Derek and Chape, all the whole guys, great staff have had nothing but real positives to say about that. And from what it sounds like, the team's really bought in, and that's very important. They're obviously going to have a tremendous challenge right out of the gate: San Jose State, University of Pitt, and then headed to the Big House in Michigan. So, but again, like I tell our kids, it's not where you start; it's where you finish. I'm confident, Matt, and that staff and those kids, they'll be ready to go. And I think it's going in the right direction. I'm not as in touch as maybe or as close, obviously, with them being at Iowa, such a short distance. Sure. It's 6 hours now. And of course, to get around Chicago is like, wow. I mean, you want to talk about road rage. I mean, but yeah, so I they're doing good. And Joey got a cat. He's got a pet cat. His roommate's from American Samoa, and he's got his other roommates from Florida. Seem like nice kids. And Rusty's got his roommate, John. He's from New Jersey. He's a Columbia transfer who's got 1 year left. You know how that works with the Ivy League,
Sure.
4 years, and then they usually get another year. And so, yeah, it's good. Just hopefully, they got a great opportunity, and how unique it really is to be able to play together with your brother, each of them feeling the same way. I think they have a grasp of what that means and just kind of how special it is, obviously for his mom and I, their mom and I and the family, but really for them collectively to be able to do it from Rising Knights to YSF, to, high school, feel obviously very, very fortunate to have that. And otherwise you're going in opposite directions. Not how we not how we drew it up. We thought Iowa, but things went a different direction, and it is what it is. That's kind of how it works, and you got to be happy. And I think they're on the right path doing that.
That's outstanding. We are going to talk PV, but I got to ask you. Hopefully, I may just say, hopefully, Rusty has the Columbia transfer help him with some homework. If that might be a smart idea with the Ivy League stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to do the math in my head. Did you coach against Drinkle when he was at Bettendorf?
Yeah, I coached against all those guys. Yep, I coached against all those guys. I think Drinkle I was at North Scott at the time when Matt was playing. Tremendous player. He worked for my mom for the Bettendorf Park Board. I've known Matt. He's one of a kind. I mean, I've gotten to know him a little bit in the last 6 months. Yeah.
I can't say enough nice things about Matt Drinkle.
He would be the first one to say, whoa. But when you look at this new age of college football and the new age of coaching, it's just like, that's it right there. When you hear him talk and hear him, how they go about things, how he goes about things, how he communicates. He's got the social media knack. He's got the delivery. He's got the intricacies to reach out and touch and connect to kids. And so when you think of like this, just being able to adapt to this era of athlete, I'm like, wow. And then the guys he's brought in, Fulton is tremendous. I was a head coach here at PV when Derek was playing at Assumption. Doyle was at Iowa City West when I was coaching. So, yeah, I mean, I just think him and his staff have that. I've been very impressed. Very impressed. Now, he would first tell you, hey, still a bigger picture out there, you got to do all this stuff, and then hopefully that transitions to, winning football games. And he says, hey, I'm going to do it my way, how I think we're going to do it. And if it works, awesome. But that's how he wants to do it. So just been really impressed with Matt, and, seeing him from when he was in elementary and junior high to now is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty really happy for him, and gotten to know him over the years. So all those guys, you're in this business long enough, you make connections. I was over at Bettendorf Saturday and saw those guys. They had some run. You'll have to ask Anger about it. And they had me come over and talk at it. So it was kind of cool. And we talked about Matt. And so kind of exciting, individually for me, for my kids, kind of blessed in that regard, I guess, to
absolutely
make a lot of connections and meet a lot of great people.
No, absolutely. Rusty VanWetzinga joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Let's talk Spartans, because it is, and I think we kind of talked about it before we started, this is the first time in a while that you haven't looked out there and seen one of your kids running around and coaching them.
Yeah.
It's a different dynamic. There's ton that's good with it. I'm sure there's some things that are frustrating with it. What's it like to look out there and not see your boys running around? And I don't want to say change your outlook, but it might adjust a few things a little bit. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, kind of like how we were talking earlier. I was telling Julie, my wife, I think last week, I was kind of excited about getting going and being able to coach. I kind of felt like, man, there was a weight off my shoulders a little bit. Just because they had big shoes to fill. I mean, maybe a lot of it was me, the family, just kind of a legacy that's been set, and then they build their own legacy. Then, so I think there was always a lot of pressure there, and they both feel it differently. They both handle things differently. Joey's much more internal. Rusty's more, you've met him. He's very talkative, very outgoing. Not that Joey's not. It's just they're different, and and then you had the head coaching piece with me, and so I loved it, enjoyed it, but sometimes I found myself trying to walk that fine line of coach and get caught up watching them, which any parent would do. I mean, I'm no different than someone up in the stands. It's just so that was always kind of a dynamic I had to navigate a little bit. And probably more so than people thought, 'cause I try to keep a lot of those things to myself. Maybe shared them with Julie some or my parents just. But again, I'm excited about. All right, I'm not excited. You got 4 boys. Time flies, man, and it goes by very quick. My parents have celebrated their 53rd wedding anniversary. I'm like, wow. I think about them and looking back, they got grandkids in college, and it's gone like that. And loved it. But on the same token, I feel like there's been a little bit of some weight lifted off my shoulders a little bit as I enter this season, and it's created a little excitement for me individually. And we had a great day today. Like we got a long way to go.
No, absolutely. When you look at it too, how do you look at this team? Because those weren't just the sons that left, but they're talented kids, and the classes with them were talented as well.
Yeah.
But I know you're that guy that and I've gone over to do previews with you in the past with my camera, and I've asked you about last year, and you said, well, that was last year. It really is that, where each team is different, and each team sets their own sets it. Look at that. That's service right there.
My neighbor Don, man. It's I need
to move in next to Don.
He's my fall guy.
I like
Waller guy.
I like it.
Yeah.
But
each
no, you're
just
good.
Water.
Each season is
we're not
different.
on Channel 8 anymore, man.
Yeah,
We're good to go. I already heard Welchie talk. I'm much more coy. I'm much more cool than that.
Absolutely. Each
kinda,
season is different, isn't it? Each season is different. Kind of talk about this new group, because you don't like to look backward. You're a forward-looking guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I addressed the team in maybe January when there was still, hey, was Van coming back or what? And I gathered around and said, hey, I'm going to run it back. We're going to run it back. And I said, hey, a kind of an era in Pleasant Valley, and our coaches kind of talked about kind of an era. There's always eras, but this era from maybe 2020, the last 5-6 years has been an outstanding era in our football program. No, we didn't win a state championship, got to the semifinals, but again, we were as good as any team in Eastern Iowa, and we played right toe-to-toe with the state champs and, state semifinalists. There's other wins. So that era is kind of closed, and I kind of saw this coming, and so I've talked to the kids about, hey, they got to forge their own path. The expectations have been set. And one thing I know, whether how talented we are, how many maybe deficiencies that we might have, maybe, not fast enough, not big enough, our numbers are good. But I know one thing, our kids are going to play hard. They understand the expectations. They got pride. They, total effort, all those cliches. I know our kids will be coachable. They'll get better. And we'll give our team, a chance to win week in and week out. Because I know how we do things. I know the system that we run. It's not easy to defend. All right. We have our deficiency. We always have. I get that. And I'm not going to get into that. It's more stuff for a longer clinic talk. But I know, and I'm confident that what we do, how we do it, and the way we go about doing it is going to, in how our kids are, they want to do well, whether it's in the classroom, another sport, they're competitive, they want to win. And that's a good feeling for me. And my staff has been around a long time, and we feel we have a blueprint, a structure that we're going to be ready. And that's really what I'll leave that as. I mean, we're going to have some good players. We're going to have kids that no one knows about yet, that I think people will know about. And because, again, we've lost some, tremendous football players, not just we've had some tremendous football players. And now it's these guys' turn. And I think, again, how we go about doing it, we're going to give ourselves a chance to be successful. It's not, I said, hey, after today, we got to take a step forward to get better, to get better, to get better, to get better. We can't we're not good enough. And I tell that we're not good enough to, take steps backwards. We're not, whatever, our makeup, that's just how we are. So just hammering that message home. All right. And each and every day, we're going to be ready to go.
When you look at it, Coach, you have, it's just different. You mentioned Caden McDermott going golfing with them. The guys you have, and there's always that next guy. And I've watched it covering your program. Do you look out there and see some guys that you're like, okay, that's our next, not this guy, that guy, but you can see the talents there. It's just that, and I think that's the beauty of college football as well. People graduate, and the next guys come up, and you get to watch their stories develop. Can you see some of those stories developing where this guy is going to be a household name, or this guy is going to do a lot of good things for Pleasant Valley football?
Absolutely. I think, we got another Vandahar coming up. His two brothers were terrific players for us. He's going to be a terrific player. Dane Cox, really wrestled behind Joey. Joey didn't wrestle his senior year, and he ended up placing, and he's going to be a tremendous football player for us. Ashton Stofflet, I'm not sure where he's going to fit, but he's going to be a dynamic player for us. Quarterback, A or C back, safety, he can run. Lincoln Dalton, all right. Evan Barr, Gavin Barber. I mean, these guys played for us last year, but they were kind of somewhat under the radar with some of the other guys that we had. And Roman Sadler, his brother played for us, has a tremendous career up at Grandview. He's going to do a great job for us. He's a senior. I mean, he knows what the expectation, the bar's been set high, and those guys have been doing a great job of leading us. Micah Herlick, who played a lot of football for us last year, played a lot of two-way football for us and made some big plays. And really watching him grow. He's athletic, he's explosive, he's tough, all right? And he's gaining more and more of a higher football IQ. And then we got some younger guys, and that's where what we're going to see, that these guys, and I think we got some very good sophomore football players that are going to contend for position mixed in with our junior and our senior class. So we're going to have some guys like that. But, again, I think, it might be bumpy at times. It's going to be bumpy at times this week. It was bumpy today from time to time. And that's life, though. That's football. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about it. Obviously got to replace a kicker. I think we got a couple guys. We've had a tremendous run with some terrific kickers over the years. And that's another position that I think a guy's going to step up and do a great job for us.
Doing my vast research as we get ready to do the interview, I look at the schedule and all the regular names are on there, and it's loaded with good team after good team. It's a tough schedule, and that Bettendorf game's at the beginning, and it can be.
Oh yeah.
And everyone looks at that one and talks about it being a tone setter. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it a few years ago? Didn't they get you, and then you ran the table? And won every game since that? Or so I guess my question is how much
last year too.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. So how much is put into that game? Obviously it's a huge rivalry game. Obviously it's a team that's gotten you the last two times to start the season. And do the kids look ahead to that when it comes to that opener? How much you have to temper that as well?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt you look towards it. I mean, from a coaching standpoint, from knowing those guys, them knowing us, we're in the same town. I mean, it's really two schools in the city of Bettendorf. So, yeah, it's going to be a rivalry, and you can't get around that. And you don't want to get around that. It's going to be a great environment. And it was a tremendous game last year. They went for two to get the win. And the year before, they kicked our butt. We stunk. And the 3 or 4 years before that, we had gotten them. So all the games have been, ultra competitive, and I suspect nothing different. But again, it's not where you start; it's where you finish. I mean, it's going to be a big game, and that's one of those games you mark on the calendar. I mean, it's a big. The state of Iowa in 5A likes to put a huge rivalry game in week one. Dowling Valley, Bettendorf PV. I don't know about the others. A guy like Welchie, he's all over the place. He knows all these stats and analytics. Hey, I'm just like, let's go. I know who week one. I know what the day in front of me is. I'm not looking so forth and so on. But we circle it mentally. I don't put some calendar out there or anything. But hey, the kids know what week one is, and we know what we're up against week one, and what that message has been being delivered to their players by that staff. And their players embracing that just like ours. So it's going to be going to be a big game, and they're all big games in football. You got to win games to get in the playoffs. All the other sports, everybody qualifies, so there's a premium and there's a lot put on into those games, and you go to your RPI and 5A and 4, whatever, but you still got to win games, and it's going to be the most important game of the year because it's our first game.
Yeah.
And then once it's over, we move on to week 2. But yeah, we'll be excited, juiced up for that game. I will be.
See, that's the beauty part is I don't have any committed things to do Friday night, so I got to figure out which game to go to and hang out at. I'm gonna have to go. That's probably an easy winner on week 1. Coach VanWetzinga joining us right now. A couple more for you before I let you go. You mentioned it,
okay.
and you talked about how you even said to the kids, Coach Van's coming back. We're going to run it back again. Do you look just one season at a time? I won't age you or anything, but you're the wily veteran. Do you look at it one season at a time? Do you know how much longer you want to do this, or do you just, you'll see how you feel when you get done this year and all that kind of stuff?
I feel good. I mean, I love coaching. I mean, I like it. I love it. I like doing it. But it's going to be, I don't have, this is going to be my last year.
Sure.
I would never, say that or do that. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. It's in the back of my mind because, again, I'm not going to miss my kids' stuff either. So I want to see how this year goes, how bumpy things are, because it'll be bumpy. I mean, taking off after a Friday night game, week 2.
Is there a plan? Is
week
there a
2,
plan to are you leaving after? Are you driving overnight, or is there a plan on how you get to? Are you guys going to take off after the game, or what's the idea?
Week 1 we play Bettendorf, and that's when Central Michigan plays 9:30 our time. So my wife, my mom, my sister, they're flying out to go see the game, which I'm excited for them. And right after that game, I'm going to make a beeline home, because it'll be on Fox Sports 1, so I want to watch it. And again, hopefully no one, everybody's healthy and so forth. Week 2, we got Cedar Falls. Well, the plan is now I'm not going to attend Cedar Falls game. And I don't know, that was something me and Deanne talked about. I talked about it with my staff. The guys been with me, and they're all, hey, you need to go do it, need to do that. I mean, I'll be at practice all week, Matt, but then we'll fly out Friday morning. Those guys can handle the games. Are the easy part. Come on, man, you got to practice.
They carry you anyways. Your staff's been carrying you for years. You know that.
Yeah, I know it. I'm just a paper champion. Yeah. And then week 3, they're in Ann Arbor, and that'll be a game where, Julie and I have been discussing it and how we're going to either leave immediately after the game or come home, get a couple hours of sleep, then take off. And, some of it's hotels and, when can we get into the parking lot? So, I just want to see how all this shakes out and how it goes. I got plenty of coaching left in me, wrestling, whatever, coach a lot of softball, football, whatever. But same token, just like you or any other parent, you don't want to miss your kids' stuff. No. So that's family first. Family first.
You're living the dream, Coach. You're living the dream. You're coaching football, doing what you love, and you're going to watch your boys play college football. Nothing wrong with that at all. Last one for you. Big picture we talk a lot, and we've had great conversations through the years.
Yeah.
How much different is high school football from when you started head coaching at Pleasant Valley to now? I know it's a loaded question because you can go into so many different venues. Kids are probably still kids. I think that's the biggest misconception is people think kids have changed. I don't think kids have changed. So is it similar, or what's it like if you can go back 20-ish years ago and now? What's it like?
Well, from a football player standpoint, I think kids are obviously very athletic. I think coaches do a really good job getting the ball into their athletes' hands. The game is more spread out. There's been some rule changes that, help the offense. There's higher scoring. There's more shootouts. There's more hurry-ups. So there's a lot of different things that maybe when I first started coaching and just got done playing, the game was much more condensed. You know, it was in between the tackles a lot and stuff like. Where now it's really spread out. Not that they don't run the ball, but they spread you out to run the ball, getting people in space. So that's trickled down, obviously, from the college level to the high school level, and that's kind of where we're at right now. And that's why we're kind of a little bit, I don't know, old school in that regard, where that's kind of our formula to try to, with the athletes that we have, to be successful. So I've seen some change in that regard. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the strength programs, all that sort of stuff. Some kids were tougher back then. I don't know, maybe. You know, things are a little easier now. You know, just when I say easier, you know, obviously with you know, the technology, the news feeds, all that sort of stuff is immediate gratification. So when you say easy, yeah, I mean, you still got to put it. Man, at the end of the day, it takes what it takes to be good. It takes what it takes. All that sort of stuff, that hasn't changed. There's been new facets and new, you know, supplement and all that different stuff. That's all out there, but it still takes what it takes. And kids are still kids, but there's a lot of challenges I think kids have to navigate. And as an adult, we do a much better job of handling it. And you would know as good as anybody. I think the biggest change, what I've seen, and sometimes are the keyboard warriors. In the social media piece, it can be great. A lot of people use it to promote themselves, which is good in this day and age. And a lot of coaches follow that, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Snap, whether it's Instagram, you know, sending videos out. But it still takes what it takes. But then the bad side, you know, kids have done dumb stuff forever. Some of the stuff thank God there wasn't social media.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine there being phones like that?
No, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it'd be awful.
No, I had a hard enough time in high school. My dad was a cop, so in Bettendorf, I had to watch my P's and Q's and really kind of navigate that. And you know, my mom working for the city, so I had to try to be a straight arrow as much as I could.
Yeah.
Or find the ways to bypass that stuff. But the point is, and I've seen it with my own kids. I see some of the ugliness that comes with that. And you know, Drinkle talked about this. And, you know, kids today, girls and boy athletes, male and female athletes, when they have the social media come down on them in a negative way, you know, something that they did. And they, you know, kids put stuff out there and you try to tell them, but kids are going to be kids. There's, you know, and they make mistakes. Well, now that's out there. Now that's getting used to get under your skin, knock you down, and some, you know, adults can handle it. I mean, all the stuff that's been said about me, either emails, texts, whatever, you know, that's fine. Most people know where I live, and they're welcome to stop over any day of the week, and we can handle it that way. But for a kid, that's hard, and every kid's different. So I worry about that, and that's been a big change, you know. Their girlfriend breaks up with them or, you know, whatever, you know, something happens in their family that they had no control over. And, you know, people, you know, the barstool stuff and those types of things. It just, that's been a big change and, you know, something that bothers me sometimes. Yeah. Hey, and nobody's innocent. Yeah. Nobody's in it. Our school, but, you know, don't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so that's a big thing. And I think in this day and age.
Well, it goes back to Dan Pearson told me a long time ago when we were starting this, when I started doing this, it's like, if you're going to call an interception, you don't mention the quarterback who threw the interception. You give credit in your highlights to the kid. And that's the thing is nowadays I feel like they call the kid, now I'm not saying they as in sportscasters or anything like that, but I'm just saying more focus is put on the negative than the positive. And Dan Pearson always taught us, you know, you got to focus on the positive. Well, this social media stuff, while there's good sides, it focuses a lot on the negative as well. Before I let you go.
You guys always did a tremendous job of that. Doing that in your newscast, and Dan, I got the utmost respect for Dan, what a great human being,
the
great
best
man.
in the business.
Awesome.
Before I let you go, Wheelers, are you watching? Are you excited? Are Eastern Conference Championship this coming up this Saturday? Your thoughts on the Quad City Steam Wheelers?
I'm really excited for them. I'm really pumped. I was calling the games with Redrick for a while, and then things got busy on my end with actually, kids were going, the boys were going to camps and so forth. And, it kind of drags on into the summer a little bit. And I had some other things on my plate that I wanted to do and told him, hey, I think this is it for me. But I reached Redrick and I talked the other day, and he's awesome. I mean, he's awesome, and he would, he'd do the play-by-play, and I do the color, and he asked me, you going? I go, I can't go to this first game. I hope they win. I think Julie and I are planning on going Saturday. So I got to talk to Redrick. He'll probably want me to come up. And I usually I'm not quite maybe as colorful as Pat, but I would I got my ways of,
There's knowledge.
Calling it.
There's knowledge. That's all you need is knowledge.
So I'm excited for him.
Yeah, no, I told Coach Ross today on the show. It's my birthday on Saturday. My wife's out of town, and so I'm like, what a better way to go celebrate your birthday than grab the boys and go down to a Wheelers game, and they're excited because these guys have been coming out to the house. So Stud Rudd's been coming out to the house for our Wednesday segments. So the kids are playing basketball when he's leaving, and they just want to go see him play and all that. So I think we're going to do the same. It's really cool to see the Quad Cities rally around that organization. It's been fun to see this year.
I always get a kick out of Rudd because he played at Central when I was coaching too, and he was a tremendous athlete, trackster. He's had a hell of a career for the Wheelers. But that's actually I know that's his last name, but that's actually my nickname. If you ask people close to me, that's my nickname, Rudd.
Really?
R-U-D.
Oh.
Yeah, honest.
Really?
Yep.
Do they call you Stud Rudd? Nobody calls you Stud Rudd, though, do they?
Rudd Dog, I guess. I don't know. Rudd, Ruddy. They don't call me Stud. Well, they call me Stud sometimes, but not very often. Not anymore. They call me Stud now.
Back in the day, right? Back in the day. Well, Coach, I've appreciated this. This has been a ton of fun. Make sure that you send Don over with whatever beverage he's handing out right now. Next time we do this,
I got you here.
Next time we do this over at your place, I'll just bring the gear and come over.
Absolutely. Hey, it's all set up, man. You'd love it here.
I love it.
Got my Iowa stuff. Got my TV. You're more than welcome. And look forward to being back on the show whenever you need me or anything. You do a great job, and we talked before. It's really a cool thing, and I listen to it, lots.
I love it. I love to hear that. I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship over the years, and have a good season. I'll see you out on the sideline real soon.
Sounds good, Matt.
All right. Thanks. That is Coach VanWetzinga over at Pleasant Valley with a Pleasant Valley preview, a little Central Michigan preview, and a whole bunch. That was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. We got a lot more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad Cities' best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. We continue our high school football previews as the high school football season is almost here. 3 weeks from Friday, we kick things off for real. On Monday, we chatted with Nick Welch from United Township. Time for an upgrade, and not just coaching-wise, but golf-wise as well. Sterling's Jon Schlemmer joins me right now. First and foremost, young man, I said it to Nick Welch yesterday. I thanked him for golfing. You as well made the trip from Sterling with Coach LeMay and some others and golfed in my dad's golf outing. I greatly appreciate it. I feel like I have to be nicer to you at the banquet this year. Maybe a few less jokes because of that. Thank you for coming and do that. I hope you had a good time.
No, it was a great time. And you do. I would appreciate that. Brought a couple of my good buddies that live over here. And then obviously with Coach LeMay, who I coached with, who's at Newman. So it was a lot of fun. It was a good day. The joke about me being better than Welch is, that day it might have been a little kind of true, but on most days it's unfortunately not. The golf game's not great right now.
I didn't get into it too much with him yesterday, but were there any friendly bets or anything like that between the two teams?
There were many, and let's just say that we came out on top of all of them. So that was the good part.
Did he pay up?
No, he has not paid up yet, but it'll come shortly.
Yes. So what I want him to wear like a Sterling hat at the banquet or something like that. Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, we could make that happen for sure.
Oh, I'd love it. I would absolutely love it. So, well, it's a blast to do. I gave Morrissey a hard time. Morrissey lives right here. Like, you made the trip down to do it. Hopefully we can convince you to do it again next year, because it was great having you guys out there, and I really do appreciate you guys doing it. Let's talk a little football. What year is this for you now at Sterling? It seems like yesterday you were starting up, but you're getting to be the old guy in the conference, I think.
I'm one of them, man. 2012 was my first year, so I'm not a math guy, but like 13, 14, somewhere 12, 13, I don't know. I lose track, but no, 2012 I started, and I don't know what this is, 7 or something like that. I think we started in 19, so in the Western Big Six, but we're excited to be in the Western Big Six. It's a good league, and we're excited to get back going.
Absolutely. You look at Sterling and the success you've had over the years, and you're and we always joke that you're very unassuming, and it's, we're not going to be that good, or you delegate very well. Your coaching staff, and I know your players get a ton of credit from you. Kind of talk about that, because it's a beautiful thing what you've built there, and it's not about Coach Schlemmer. I mean, it really isn't. You've had great coaches and great players along the way as well. Well, I mean, it takes somebody even with your intellectual level to actually see that, because it's facts. We got great kids here. We went through a run a couple years ago with just unbelievable players. Our community support is so high up there. The administration that we work for, it's a sports school. They understand the role of athletics with all of our kids, and so the coaching staff. We got a couple turnover here and there, but man, there's a lot of guys that were on the sidelines with me the first game, when we were down in Moline, 2012, that are still there. And so, that is a huge part of it. And you talk to any of these guys, any of the coaches on your show, and talking about your assistant coaches, talking about, the players, it's a big deal. So I'm just lucky enough. And, I always tell people, I'm the coach when we win. I got to deflect it on somebody else when we don't. But no, I'm excited for this year, and happy to kind of be where we're at. Jon Schlemmer from Sterling joining me right now. And you mentioned that administration. It's been a great run for Sterling athletics. And I mean, even in this show, we've had coaches on that have done great things, and the successes in girls basketball and boys basketball and all those kind of things as well, and other sports. And you look at the stadium, I think the stadium's beautiful, the Jumbotron. I mean, you have your games are basically on TV. I mean, they do a fantastic job televising and getting those games out to the community. Talk about that community. You mentioned it a little bit, but they do understand. The community understands, and the administration understands how important athletics are when it comes to the student-athlete relationship and role at Sterling High School.
It's so true. The student athlete part of it is big. And then you look at everything we have, and you always say, like, our kids, they don't know what they don't know until they go somewhere else. And, we traveled into the suburbs a couple times recently, just kind of for like summer practices. And, our kids will look around at these schools of 2,000, 3,000 that we're going to play. And just, they don't understand how lucky they are to have what they have, and sometimes it takes that, because you can talk as an old man. I can tell, hey, you guys have, the best of this and that. They don't know, because that's a lot of them, they grew up there and that's what they've known their whole lives. So it's cool to see those kids, as they get older, to start to understand, like, oh man, things are pretty good where we're at. So, you kind of spoke on it with Taylor, with Ryan in basketball and Taylor, and, we got a lot of good coaches. I mean, track and field's been good, and one of my good buddies is the baseball coach. So, it's I guess the camaraderie amongst our coaches. It's not like that everywhere like it is at SHS. And that's just because I can talk to other coaches and they're like, yeah, we don't, we get along. We root for, I'm at the basketball games. We want all our kids to do well. So it might kind of sound corny, but it's actually true in this case. It's, which is a cool thing.
No, absolutely. What's this week like? Because I know it's kind of an off week as you guys get ready to ramp things up. School starts on Monday. Practice starts on Monday. Games are going to be here before you know it. What is this like for you this week? And what did you learn from the summer? And what are you excited to find out maybe in the next 3 weeks as you guys get ready for the season?
Well, for me, this off week ain't much of an off week. You're doing a lot of stuff, kind of making sure you're touching base with kids, and ask any coach about having your physical turned in and being signed up and all that. There's no really off week. So took a little vacation with my wife and kids last couple days, and that was fun. But I want to be here. I have stuff to do here. So but we're excited to get going on Monday, and the summer it was good. I don't know. We July we ramp it up a little bit, but in June we're kind of we get on the field, and we obviously we're in the weight room and working on speed and conditioning and agility. But once July hits, man, I'm like I say this, and this is stupid, but it's like July is like one of my least favorite months, because it's like, like things are coming, like we have to actually like get a lot of stuff done right now. It's you can kind of see things are coming to fruition, and they're going to be here sooner or later. So. But it was fun. We saw a lot of good things and saw a lot of things that, like, maybe they're kind of reality, but you want to look at it and say, all right, what's this going to look like? And so that's what film's for, and you can kind of iron some things out before you get into fall camp. But it was a good, productive summer. For the most part, knock on wood, we stayed healthy, and that's kind of the main goal is to get to the season excited and to be healthy.
Well, everyone wants to know what this year's Sterling team will look like. We chatted a little bit before we started, and young is a word that came out of your mouth. But there's talent. There's too. What do you know about this team actually on the field wise? What are some kids that you're excited to see? And is that the beauty of coaching maybe, is that you find out as you go who steps into which roles and becomes the next big player, or the next, all conference player, if you will, at Sterling High School.
It's true, because we sit there all the time, and I'll tell you guys, like, you're going to hear some names you had no idea who they were, but they're pretty good players, and we've kind of had that luxury. But when you talk about being young, I think a lot of people think, well, that's an excuse. It can't be. It's not. It's just, there's a reality to being in. And, when you're starting kids that, I can remember last year we started 2 freshmen on the varsity, and, before one of the games, I'm driving, to go home, and I see these 2 kids walking back from the gas station together. And I'm like, these guys are going to be playing in a couple thousand people here in a few hours, and they don't have anywhere close to having their driver's license. So, it's going to be the same this year. We got a lot of guys like that are young, but they're talented. So, you have to have a really good summer. You have to have a really good fall camp, because, we go right into playing really good programs, and, our conference schedule, it's, once we get into the league, man, it's a grind from the get-go. So you've got to make sure that you're growing up, really, really quickly. And that's something that we know has to happen, but it's easier said than done, with these kids. And you have to actually, even a psycho like me has to kind of take a deep breath sometimes and be like, hey, these kids are 14 or 15 years old. Like, you got to give them a little bit of leeway. But, in the football world, man, people want results, and, we have great kids, and we just want to put them in spots they can be successful. So, It's just it's a work in progress, but we're excited to get going.
You mentioned putting kids in spots to be successful. What does this Sterling team need to do? Well, how will it look if you are successful? What is maybe some things that you look forward to when it comes to strengths of this team and things that you guys can do well this fall coming up on Friday nights?
Yeah. I mean, we got to run the ball better. That's just plain and simple. We've got to be better in the run game. That's something that we hung our hat on for so many years, man. We were lucky enough to play in the semis a couple of years back to back and play in the quarterfinals, and we were able to run the football. And you have to do that. You can't rely on just having big plays and having explosives. You've got to establish that. So that's really big. And that being said, I think somewhere where we have maybe more than we've ever have is we have a lot of dudes that can really go. I mean, we have some guys that they can run, but you still have to get them in a position where, you can get them the ball in open field and give them an opportunity to kind of showcase and utilize their speed. So that's on us as a coaching staff to try to find, unique ways to get those guys the ball and to put them in space where they can go be, like we said, be successful. But it's a whole lot easier said than done to get your dude. Everybody's trying to get their dudes the ball, right? So how do you do it? And when they're out there, they just got to go, got to make plays.
Jon Schlemmer joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. So let's look at this conference. I talked to Coach Morrissey last week, and Coach Welch yesterday, and they talked about it being wide open. And we've kind of known, and you've been in the mix with it as well. But Quincy's been really good the last couple of years. Moline and the Sterling teams, and you kind of knew going in maybe the odds-on favorite. I don't know if there's an odds-on favorite for this year in the Western Big Six, and I think that's a good thing. When you look at the conference as a whole, what do you see? What do you expect? Those kind of things.
I mean, it's a good question, and it's something like I agree. I think the last couple of years you looked at Quincy, and my goodness, they were good, and they put it on us pretty good last year when we went down there. So, and they were such a talented team, and this year I think Moline, with what they do offensively, it's so hard to prepare for, and you can't get a good look on it. So obviously, you look at them and their track record, what they've done. You can't really go too far away from Quincy until they prove you wrong. Like they've still got some good players coming back, and their scheme is really good. Obviously with Geneseo, what they did scheme wise with what Coach Furlong's brought, that's a nightmare. I think UT, and I talk to Nick all the time. Nick knows every kid in the league. He knows them first and last name. He probably knows their social security number. Like I'm asking, like, hey, this running back, this kid was good last year, and he knows everything about him. So he's kind of my lean on guy of guy. He knows my kids sometimes better than I do. I think they're going to be good. They're going to be good up front. They got dudes up front. Their running back is dynamic. Rock Island, they score points on us every year, so it's trying to find a way how to stop them. And, Galesburg had some nice young kids. I think they're underclass. They were good. And then, you look at, like Alleman, you don't know what they're going to have yet. So it's going to be something that we'll kind of see.
No, absolutely. It's going to be a fun conference for sure when it comes to the Western Big Six. You mentioned some of the coaches and Coach Welch and golfing with him, and we all like to make fun of Coach Morrissey. It's easy and fun to do. It seems like a fun conference, and I've gotten to know you guys in that way as well. I know Friday nights you won't win, and you're competitive as all competitive can be, but talk about the relationship with a lot of the coaches, because I think it's really cool to watch the relationships and maybe the behind the scenes stuff that maybe everybody else doesn't get to see. There's genuine is that a good word for it? I don't know what but you tolerate. What's it like with these coaches and these goofballs in the Western Big Six?
It's cool. I mean, everybody wants to win on Friday nights. That's, and I do think that there's a mutual respect of being, something that, when you're talking about, guys, they're doing the same thing. And I'm not like, we aren't the running companies or president, but there's president of the United States, but there's only so many people that do what we do and kind of understand, I guess, the demands of, kind of running a program, especially in a league like ours where success is important. So we want our kids all to be successful, Nick obviously is a really good buddy of mine, and been in the league long enough to know Mike, now, and there's some new guys turning over. Still talk to Larry. I mean, Geneseo and Sterling, there's not a ton of great blood there, but the respect that I had for him as a coach and obviously still do as a friend and mentor, it's, he's a great guy. So it's one of those things where you look at it and, you want them to have success, but at the same time, it's Friday nights, man, there's no love lost.
Before I let you go, what's the best part of Friday nights? And have they changed in your years that you've been there? I don't want to make you sound old, but you've been there, and everyone keeps telling me the kids are getting. Yeah, I hear you. Trust me, brother, I'm right there with you. Everyone keeps telling me kids are changing and kids are different. I don't think they are. Like, I remember covering them, and they weren't changing. What is there a big difference between year 1 and year 12, 13, 14? We can't figure it out yet. We'll do some math later. But is there a big change? What's the biggest difference in high school football between when you started and now?
I mean, there's a lot that I agree with you is, I think something in our school is sometimes our numbers are great, and sometimes our numbers, depending on the class. So like right now, our program, we got 2 small classes. Doesn't mean they're not talented. Doesn't mean they're not great kids. Doesn't mean they're not great in the classroom. They don't have a ton of guys out. So, kind of fighting that sometimes. And I think the off-season stuff has probably became, in the summer, these kids are just pulled in so many different directions, that it's hard. So asking them to commit to only one thing is tough. And then we don't do that. And I know a lot of the guys in our league don't do that. But at the end of the day, it's Friday night. It's football. It's everything that this sport's about. It's awesome. And the butterflies, and this is like, again, sounds corny, but it's like real, and you're excited every time when you send a new crew out there and how excited they are. So, you can't emulate what happens on Friday nights, no matter what. You can't do anything all year to prepare for it. It's there. The crowds are there. School, it's fun. It's fun, man. I don't want to do anything different right now. I just hope I don't get fired. So I just want to continue, to be able to coach a place I love and be around kids that are great kids.
You got plenty of equity. You're good. You're good. I want to promote 2 Sundays that I'm going to get to see you. August 17th is the View from the West kickoff party at the Other Bar, teaming with Greg Armstrong. Really fun show, 5 o'clock. So people in the Quad Cities, go over to the Other Bar. You can come down and join us for that. And then you got to do it again the following Sunday and listen to my bad jokes with the banquet. Do you like the banquet getting moved to Sunday? I think it's a great idea. I don't know if maybe not. Well, did you leaving practice early?
I hated it, and I was one of the ones that had to leave it the earliest. Obviously with Coach Little, they had to leave a little bit. But I think it'll be. I'm going to invite some of my assistants and allow if they want to come over. Where I was never able to do that because it was like 4:15, and I'm trying to change in the locker room and jet out of there. So I think it's great, and obviously what Greg's doing with the View from the West thing. You guys say it all the time. I've heard you say it. Believe it or not, I listen to your show.
Bless you.
Yeah, right. One of the 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, my wife and you. I don't even think my wife listens, but go ahead.
But anyway, you promote the heck out of them and what they do. That doesn't happen around the state. Yeah. It just doesn't. And so if people can, again, it's probably something in our area that people take advantage of or take for granted, I should say. It's not a normal thing. So to have that opportunity to come out there, and it takes maybe an hour to drive out there for me and to be around some good guys who share similar interests and then drive back. I mean, it's well worth it to promote what they're doing and our program, and then hopefully some people can get out there and kind of buy into what he's doing because it's such a cool thing.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a ton of fun. So, and like I told my wife, you get me out of your hair for 2 straight Sundays. So I don't know if that's a good thing with little kids and your wife. It's probably a little more difficult, but it'll be a lot of fun. Hey, Coach, I've enjoyed this. I can't wait to see what Sterling does this year. Tootsie Pops, will you bring back a Tootsie Pops on Sunday, one of those Sundays?
I can bring both. Both.
There you go.
My wife can.
Win-win. I love it. You bring me Tootsie Pops, I'll buy you a beer. It's even, right?
No, yeah, even.
Even Stevens. So, all right, Coach, I appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, so man. Appreciate it.
All right, that is Jon Schlemmer, the head coach of the Sterling football program. Big things coming up for the Warriors this year. Cannot wait for the Western Big Six to get rolling. Less than a month away, 3.5 weeks away. It'll be a ton of fun. We got more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Tuesday right here in the Quad Cities. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need Mobile Party Experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your Mobile Party Experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Tuesday in the Quad Cities. Tuesday, August 5th. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. X, all those good platforms. Of course, if you're a podcast listener, we thank you for that as well. It's been a fun, busy day here on the show. We kick things off with Quincy sportscasting legend, Chris Duerr. 30 years of doing it in the Quincy area. Recently, my son, I got to give Charlie some credit. He made me a breakfast bowl for lunch. It was delicious. I mean, it was really good. It was scrambled eggs and sausage, and yeah, so that's why I'm kind of coughing and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, Chris Duerr did it for 30 years in that area at the highest of levels. Recently stepped down, starting a new venture with Muddy River Sports as the sports director there, the more non-traditional form of media that you're watching right now. So we wish him the best. If you missed that interview, go back, check it out. That was a ton of fun. Also, we did a couple of football previews, Pleasant Valley and Sterling, Rusty VanWetzinga and Jon Schlemmer. So check those out as well. If you missed yesterday's show, it was United Township and North Scott were the previews. We talked with Corey Ross as we get ready for the Wheelers to play another home game, another home playoff game coming up this Saturday. And then Don Umlin was on yesterday as well. Don't forget, coming up this week on Friday, August 7th. Is that right? Is today the 4th? No, it's not. We're good. Friday, August 8th. Excuse me. I was like, I did all my dates wrong. Coming up Friday, August 8th, we will be live in Iowa City. So the show will not be in the morning. It'll be off the air at Iowa Football Media Day, live from there in the afternoon, probably 2:30 or 3. We'll get you a definite time over the next couple days. I think by tomorrow I should have one of those. Really excited about that. Pat Anger will join me, several other people as well. Should be a ton of fun with the Iowa football season. Less than a month away, about 3.5 weeks away. So make sure you mark your calendar and get ready and enjoy that one as well. And also mark your calendar for August 17th. It's the View from the West kickoff party. It'll be at the Other Bar. The goal right now, the hope right now is that you can, one, get out there and join us. But if you can't, you can watch that live on the View from the West YouTube page, the Off the Air YouTube page, my Twitter account as well, my X account as well. So should be a fun time down at the Other Bar for View from the West kickoff party. Should be a ton of fun as well. Coming up on tomorrow's show, we got a few more high school previews to get to. Hoping to be joined by Jordan Vesey, former Augustana and Rock Island standout, doing big things for the Wheelers as they get ready for their home playoff game coming up this weekend as well, and a few other surprises along the way as well. So a lot to get to throughout the week. 2 more shows before we take this, scoop it up, and take it to Iowa City for a show up in Iowa City as well. We want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, we thank our sponsors who allow me to do this silly little show each and every day right here in the Quad Cities. Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Thanks for watching on a Tuesday. We'll be back for Off the Air on Wednesday coming up tomorrow.